Hi, I'm Steve Shelburne, owner and operator of Shelburne RV here in beautiful Cleveland, Tennessee. Well, we're back here on a bright Monday morning. We've got quite a bit on our plates we're trying to get done, and it's going to be a little bit of a short week just because of the holiday. Hope everybody had a great holiday weekend with your families. But we're back here today. Let's talk about the Marinia by Itasca. Now, remember that ductwork is blown out. Now, typically on the gas models, you don't have this access right here. So the only way you'd be able to get that is you would have to go in there and pull this rear cap off. Mr. Lewis has actually been doing some digging in here. As you can see, the door's missing, but let's take a look at this real quick. So you can see Mr. Lewis has got the rear door off. He's taken all the panels loose in here. He's done a bunch of removing up in here. As you can see, all this stuff has got panels and stuff that's normally in there. And you can see how he's got the ductwork. This is where it's blown apart. And that's where the Y is at, right there, going up. And you can see how that's done, where it Y's across the roof right there. So fortunately, right here, when Mr. Lewis has got all this stuff pulled out of here, he was able to get every bit of this out of here. So now we should be able to get that up inside there and get that taped, and this should be better. So fortunately, we've done good. Mr. Lewis was able to get everything off here, and that's going to save the customer a lot of time and money in doing this. Now he's got the air unit already serviced. Bad outdoor fan motor on it, so he's going to get this back in here now that he's got the ductwork ready, and we should be able to test, and this thing should be a lot better than what it was. So Mr. Lewis and I are out here working on this covered wagon. Now, we talked about this in video in the past. Literally a covered wagon. It does have a Coleman basement area that we're pulling out of this unit, so there you go. I didn't believe it either until I came out here, but yeah, real nice on the inside. Got a lot of room and area, but literally a covered wagon. Well, Cousin Gary's in here working on a big country coach refrigerator. It's got an old 1292. We're actually doing a swap over to a compressor style Amish unit. Let's go in here and see how Cousin Gary's going. Let's see how Cousin Gary's doing on this 1292. Uh-oh. Gary's got the big hammer out, so that's a bad sign.
Yeah.
What's wrong, Cousin Gary?
Coil unit don't want to come out.
It's stuck?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the 1292s, because of the freezer bar they had inside there, is usually a very challenging deal sometimes to get out of there. So let me see what I can do to help Cousin Gary before he gets the bigger hammer out. All right, so that's how you give birth to a 1292. You can see how much stuff's in there. They can be a pain to get out of there. But we didn't need the big hammer, did we, Gary?
No.
Just needed Steve to help you.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. So Mr. Lewis has got all this running now, so let's go in here. You can see how well he taped all that up. He got everything taped all the way up there. We were able to get up there and get that done. He's got everything all the way down to the bottom done. Let's go inside and see what kind of temperatures he's got on this. As you can see, it's dripping water pretty good already. But let's go in here and see what kind of temperatures he's got and see where we're at, because it's been running now for a little while. So let's go look at the thermostat right here. The thermostat right now is reading, and it's a little dark in here. Let's get our flashlight going. 83 on the thermostat. Let's see what Mr. Lewis has got on the vent right here. 63, and it's dropping, so that's 20 degrees right there. So she's still dropping like crazy. So what did you have, you said, when you tested?
59.9.
59.9. So yeah, we've got our 20 degree differential for sure. We got another 6537 Alpha in here that Mr. Lewis has been working on. Now I should have got some pictures, but Mr. Lewis was ahead of me on here. All these were from about right here, where you can see the line, to about over here. All this was folded over, like somebody had reached in there and just closed all this up. And so he was able to get all this straightened out. We did clean it up. You did change the outdoor bearing, correct? Yep, change that. Yep, there we go. Obviously, he's got some capacitors in there. Now, compressor 1 capacitor was low. The fan motor, outdoor fan motor, that's supposed to be 12.5. And then we will measure that at 10.5. So those are obviously low. And then I had a conversation with the customer about the old control board. It was working, but guys, this is old technology. This is all the new stuff. So he felt like since he didn't have do a compressor swap or a fan motor or anything of that nature, he wanted to go ahead and update that. So Mr. Lewis has got that updated. Well, one of the next projects in here, surprise, surprise, floor job on this little Coleman. And you can see we got the floor out. You can see how bad. I mean, this is supposed to be floor, guys. That's the floor of this guy's camper. This is what we're dealing with here. Same thing over here. Look at here. I mean, this is the best we got. So we're obviously going to be doing something different there, but look what kind of damage it's done here also. There's some screw. Look, here's a screw from where the floor failed. It's actually a piece of a screw right there. It's broke this from where it's been dragging in and out. There's more parts of the floor. So unfortunately, this is a bad deal, but this is what happens when this is the material. Basket weave material, guys. We've talked many times about this in previous videos, and you know, that water has gotten in here and it has wicked, and that's it. That's what we got. So we had this Monaco Windsor that came in. This guy brought this thing in, and it was, some of the components back here in the back were just chattering like crazy. I mean, it was just right back in here. Some of these parts were just like making all kinds of horrible noises. And so we got to do some looking and found out that the converter inverter in that thing was putting out about 18 volts DC. Let me show you what's going on. So the old Trace Electric had regulator evidently had gone out in this thing and had caused 18 volts, and it was just making havoc in this unit. So the customer didn't want to spend the money for the big inverter converter. I mean, he's got a generator. He's not doing any kind of you know, boondocking or anything of that nature. So he didn't want us to put that back in there. He wants us to just convert it to a regular converter, which we did. And then we started back checking the systems to see what all had problems and what didn't have problems. Now, we did find out that the HWH had an issue, and the box on this one is buried. Let me show you. The HWH controller, you can obviously see it right there. One of the 12 volt power fuse, supply power fuse, was actually blown. And as soon as we put a new fuse in it, it blows it immediately. So I talked to our friends over at HWH, and we checked a few other things, and they determined that high voltage did a number on that board. So we're going to have to pull that out of there and send it and the touchpad off to HWH, and then they're going to go through and see if they can get that resolved for us. Just what it is. It's old. It's older stuff, and that's what they said they'd have to do. Lewis has been working on this Coleman. Let me show you where we're at with it. So you can see they've got the new floor cut. There's the old one. Showed you that in the previous video, how bad that was. But they've got the new Avantech floor cut out. We're just waiting on the metal. Probably here sometime Monday. Now, I did have a conversation with the customer about this. He said, you know what? The camper's paid for. I'm not really worried about that. We're just going to roll on. Not my decision, but it's his. So the boys have got that all pulled out and ready. We're just waiting on the metal to wrap that, and then we'll be ready to put this one back in. The shower wagon. Now, we saw that a few videos ago. Tori's been working on it, trying to get it done, and of course trying to do the mobile service too and get that done. But you can kind of see where he's at. Got the awning pulled out because we're trying to get all around the doors where he is. But you can see he's got about 3/4 of it done now. So the old country coach, you saw cousin Gary struggling on the cooling unit. He's got the new coolant unit in this 1292. Now the customer wanted to go with a residential compressor style cooling unit. So we've got that in there, and they're in the testing phase at the moment. See where they're at on that. Got another Winnebago Sunseeker over here that the pylon in the roof came off during a storm, and you've seen us fix those in the past. pulling the rail off and kind of doing something a little bit different. But the boys are over here now. They've got everything pretty well cleaned and prepped, and they're installing the new rail. Let me show you. So you can see where that's come open, and remember, we got a new rail we're going to put in there, fold that down, and then that's going to be mechanically fastened to that camper, and that won't ever happen again. I don't know what the deal is with all the Coleman 6537 basement airs that have been coming in here lately. This one here just showed up today on a truck, and it came in from Port Richey, Florida. But it's got a bag compressor, so I did put a tap on it already. It does have a charge, so it's just a failed compressor. So when we did test it, there was an issue with the original control board, which you've seen us talk about those in the past. That's not an uncommon situation. We have lots of issues with the, those old style control boards being a problem. So I got the new compressor ready to go in it, and we'll be doing that here in a few minutes. Well, that's going to finish us up here this week. Been a little bit of a short week this week with the holiday. Hope everybody had a great holiday weekend. We've actually already got our Monday appointment for basement air up there in the campground already. So Mr. Lewis has actually already been out there and diagged it and found out it's got a motor problem. So he's going to be doing that thing first thing Monday morning. He's got that figured out already. So we're going to get out of here. Gary, did that refrigerator end up whooping you, or did you get it?
We'll know tomorrow.
We'll know tomorrow, okay. Well, I don't know how he's going to know. I'm not going to be here, but he might be here, but he's going to find out tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and remember this video is what?
Cousin Gary approved.
Y'all have a good one.